Thank you for being here today as we welcome back our students and families who are moving today in the city of Boston. The start of the academic year is an exciting and joyous time for all of us, but the safety and the sanitation of our community is our main priority. The city is taking a coordinated, cross-departmental approach to ensure that our students, families, and folks who are moving today or this weekend have a safe and smooth moving period. I'm joined here today by fellow colleagues from various city departments, some of whom will be speaking today on safe sanitary code, public safety, community engagements, and community sanitation efforts. Today you will hear from the ISD Commissioner, Sean Lydon, our ONS, Office of Neighborhood Services, Special Assistant Connor Newman, Commissioner for our Transportation Department, Brad Garrett, our Superintendent of Public Works, Mike Brohl, and our Boston Fire Department Deputy Chief, Joseph Shea. They'll go into further detail about their ongoing efforts, and we also are joined here today by the D14 Captain, Mark Harrington, who will be here to answer any questions should they arise. I'll touch on some of the things that we'll be covering during this initiative. Inspection of services, transportation, the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, fire, police, and public works. They're conducting inspections for housing, for trash, they'll be distributing informational brochures in the neighborhoods with large student populations across the city. Inspectors will be conducting walkthroughs. They'll be visible. They'll be available to conduct on-the-spot inspections. We want to make sure that our units are being delivered in a clean, safe manner, and we're encouraging landlords, even with the short turnover time between tenants, to make sure that they're delivering clean, safe units. Our transportation department will be assisting with various efforts to keep the traffic moving, to enforce moving permits as well. Our Public Works Department will be issuing citations to enforce our trash regulations and ensure that we get trash removed expeditiously throughout the city. We'll give more details around times when trash should be put out and recycling as well. Office of Neighborhood Services and 311 will be available to residents. We encourage residents to use 311 as a means to access city services and to get information. And our police department also want to share a word of advice to especially our new residents to hide laptops and cash and jewelry, and to use cameras as much as possible to identify potential B&E suspects. So as we continue to build this great community collaboration, and we want to ask students to embrace the community and be good neighbors as well by properly disposing trash, keeping noise to a minimum, do not block exits, don't take batteries out of smoke alarms, and many more things. But I'll turn it over now to our departments to give some more departmental specific information, beginning with Commissioner Lydon from my Inspection Services Department.
Thank you, Chief Irish. Good afternoon, everybody. Once again, I'd like to touch on some of the spots that Chief Irish touched upon, just to Alston, Brighton, everywhere around the city for the student move-in. In order to ensure a smooth transition to Boston neighborhoods, ISD, Inspectional Service Department, we have roughly 60 building, housing, environmental sanitation inspectors throughout the neighborhoods, along with electrical and mechanical. We're going to be dispersed throughout the city, the heavily populated student areas, to ensure that the process goes smooth, be on hand to canvass, answer questions, and provide on-the-spot inspections and guidance to parents and students alike. Inspectors will conduct routine neighborhood walkthroughs addressing issues such as possible rodent infiltration, deferred maintenance, and more issues that may affect the quality of life and safety of the incoming students. Housing inspectors will issue violations if deficiencies are found under the rental unit delivery standard, ensuring that units are delivered clean and sanitary. Contact information of the management of these units are posted in a clear and conspicuous space. All units are equipped with working smoke and carbon monoxide detectors for the safety of the students. Building inspectors will inspect the structural integrity of buildings and components, including porches, balconies, and foundations of these structures. Electrical and mechanical inspectors will be available to ensure safety guidelines are met in accordance with applicable codes. Environmental sanitation inspectors will be on hand to inspect the following: trash receptacles, pest management practices, dumpsters, and once again, the cleanup and the safety of the students in regards to pests. Informational handouts are available in various languages and available in print and online at cityofbostonisd.gov. Staff will ensure units are registered in the rental registration database to identify unregistered units for proactive outreach. Managers will track all violations delivered during this initiative and reach out to the property owners to ensure compliance. As we continue to build a community collaboration, we encourage residents to call 311 to file a complaint or ask any questions regarding the rental unit for either the students or for the parents themselves. Thank you, and I'd like to introduce Connor Newman from the Mayor's Office.
Thank you, Commissioner. Hi, my name is Connor Newman with the Office of Neighborhood Services. This is a citywide effort to mitigate the impact of student move-in on residents and businesses and ensure that students have a smooth transition coming into Boston. The Neighborhood Services liaisons, in partnership with other city departments, will be working to inform new residents on the services and resources available through the City of Boston, and reinforce to existing residents that there's access to reporting problems if issues arise related to student move-in. Liaisons will be out in the neighborhood today and tomorrow to address constituent questions and distribute informational materials. On these walkthroughs, our staff will be flagging any potential issues to the relevant city departments. And we will continue to coordinate with our external partners in higher education, as we have for the past several weeks leading up to the return of students. Residents can connect with their neighborhood liaisons at boston.gov/ONS. If residents are looking for immediate response, Boston 311 is a great resource for residents to report issues and get information. Folks can call 617-635-4500, visit boston.gov/311, or download the Boston 311 app, which currently has a student move-in specific section to streamline reporting. The Boston 311 app is available in the Google Play and iOS store. It's Boston:311. We'd highly encourage residents to download that and use that to report issues that they see in their neighborhood. With that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Garrett from the Boston Transportation Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Good afternoon, everyone. The City of Boston's Transportation Department's goal regarding student move-in is to help keep the city's streets safe for pedestrians, bicyclists, and people driving vehicles while so many people are moving into our city. In order to do so, we have implemented parking restrictions on streets in Allston, Brighton, Fenway, Mission Hill, South Boston, Back Bay, and North End neighborhoods to help provide parking spaces for vehicles used by new residents and students moving into those areas. In order to provide notice of this restricted parking, our sign shop staff have posted over 1,000 temporary no parking signs similar to this one on the city streets. In addition, BTD has issued over 2,500 moving van permits, which will be in effect at some point over the next 5 days at the request of residents to provide parking for vehicles being used for moving. We advise people to look carefully for these signs before parking on city streets, and for more information on street restrictions, visit boston.gov/moving. Students and new residents, especially those living near the Orange Line, are reminded of the MBTA's Orange Line shutdown in effect until September 19th. More information on alternative options of travel in Boston can be found at boston.gov/Orange Line. Finally, I also want to mention Blue Bikes, our public bike share system with more than 400 stations and 4,000 bikes. It's a convenient way to get around the greater Boston area. Many of the Boston's colleges and universities provide discounted annual passes for students, faculty, and staff. Students and staff should check with their transportation office regarding eligibility. And to help people get around during the Orange Line shutdown, the City of Boston is offering free 30-day Blue Bags passes through September 18th. These passes are available to anyone and provide an unlimited number of 45-minute Blue Bike trips at no cost. For more information, please go to boston.gov/bluebikes. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Mike Brohl, Superintendent of Street Operations at the City's Public Works Department.
Good morning. I'll be brief. I'm happy to be here to represent the hardworking men and women of the Boston Public Works Department who work this operation not just over the next 2 days, but for the past week and again for the next 2 weeks. We'll see added trash volume on our streets. We've got our code enforcement officers deployed throughout the city, obviously in high rental turnover areas and college move-in areas like Brighton, Mission Hill, parts of South Boston, and throughout. We are asking residents to please put out their trash in a safe, clean manner. trash should not go out onto the city street until 5 p.m. the night before your trash day. Again, we will have officers out there. We've got trucks working throughout the weekend. It should be known that trucks working over the weekend and on non-trash days will be only picking up trash that has been cited. These are not extra trash collection trucks. These are trucks that are out to actually pick up cited material that has been put out onto the curb in a manner that is not fitting of our regulations. As I noted, we'll have added volume throughout the city. So whether you live in a college moving area or not, understand that trash trucks will be working slower in this 2 or 3 week period. And just please use the system, use 311, call City Hall, use the app, alert us to problems, and we will respond. Thanks. And I'll pass it over to the Boston Fire Department.
Thank you for having me here. My name is Joe Shea. I'm the Fire Marshal for the City of Boston. I want everybody in the city to look back on their time in Boston as a positive experience. We look at safety as obviously as our paramount concern. With that being said, we did have a fire last night in which 20 were displaced right here in Brighton. A good portion of them were students. It's not a very good way to start out your academic career in higher education. I have some statistics from Campus Fire Watch that we should all take note of. Since January of 2000, 86% of all college and university fire fatalities across the nation occurred on off-campus housing. 5 of the more common factors include lack of automatic sprinklers, missing or disabled smoke alarms, careless disposal of smoking material, impaired judgment from alcohol consumption, and fires originating in upholstered furniture on decks and porches. I would like to add a few other contributing factors that I've seen in my 26 years of fire service. There is no open burning in Boston. Fire pits are sold in Boston, but they cannot be used in Boston. Period. No propane or charcoal grills located above the exterior, first floor, or interior. Beware of candles. The slightest breeze can turn it into a curtain into a wick. Do not leave your phone or laptop plugged or unattended on any fabric or combustible surface. Many fires are started by someone falling asleep while they're using their laptop or phone and covering it accidentally with a blanket. Electronic equipment gives off heat. This heat has to be allowed to dissipate. If you smell smoke or hear a fire alarm, do not assume someone else is calling 911. Get out of bed and investigate. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So we'll now take questions. Commissioner Leiden?
The code is written in a way where remedy can be produced. It's a remedial code. If action is taken immediately to remedy the situation, we'll work with the landlord, work with the homeowner, the owner of the property. If not, we have the authority and the ability to close the structure down for our purposes, for safety purposes for the students.
So it's not a monetary thing that happens?
It can lead to monetary things through the court also.
And for our delivery standards ordinance and for moving conditions, within the first 48 hours, if units aren't clean, safe, then they could be fined on the spot as well.
What is your message to landlords over these next few days?
Commissioner, you
basically, let's work with the students. Let's run a safe building. Take into account, you have people moving out, you have people moving in. The streets are crowded. Once again, sanitary conditions, operating well, smoke detectors, CO detectors, illegal basement apartments and rooms won't be tolerated. It's the safety of the students.
So you say you want to work with the landlords, but what's your message to them? Clean up your act?
No, we don't want to come across, I think in the last probably 15 years, the owners of the properties, particularly in Alston and Brighton, have really shaped up and they've delivered very nice products lately, and I think that's working with ISD and the fire department, police department. Standards are in place, and it has really shaped up in the last 10 or 15 years, I would say. And the owners are very receptive to ISD.
Yeah, and I'll add to that, the message is to continue to be prepared. Like, we understand that there is a short turnover window between tenants moving out and new tenants moving in, but they should prepare for that, have staff available at these units to make sure that they're getting cleaned up and that they have working smoke detectors and contact information, as the commissioner mentioned earlier.
So if tenants are waking up in these apartments and they're seeing mice running around or rodents, what do you say?
Let's get a hold of the property owner. Let's rectify the situation ASAP. If not, we have the authority once again. Then the owners will have to put these people up in different places, be it hotels or what, at their expense.
So what's the coolest thing you've ever got for Austin Christmas?
The coolest thing I ever got, probably my first trip down here. I remember taking a right on a street right up off of Brighton Avenue. Immediately blocked in, I saw a couch coming off the third floor right on top of a U-Haul truck. It's probably that memory is the coolest thing I ever saw.
I got speakers and a TV stand. Oh, and a case of beer.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was good.
Was the beer cold?
No.
No.
It was warm.
So given that people actually do kind of rummage through treasure, what do people need to kind of think about? I mean, I remember at one point bed bugs were a big issue in the area.
You probably think about the same thing.
What should people think about if they're going through the stuff before they put it on their truck to take it back home for themselves?
If you want to bring something from the trash, there's a reason why it's in the trash. I'd think twice, 3 times about bringing it home.
What would be safe to take, though, in your
You
opinion?
can't really discern what's safe to take and what's not safe to take. It's a case by case.
What are some of the other things you've seen that people kind of haul? I mean, if it's out on the curb, it's fair game. Is that?
I've seen people taking mattresses, and I don't think that's probably the most sanitary thing to do. Electrical appliances, you don't know if they're short wired or short circuited or whatever. I would, once again, think twice before you take anything. There's a reason why it's in the trash.
How many people are moving in over the next few days in the city?
Do we have stats on that? Anybody?
What did you say?
How many people are moving in during these next few days?
I'll get back to you on that. I'll send it to you.
For the ones who are coming to Boston for the first time, who are new, what's your best piece of advice?
Well, welcome to Boston. Enjoy Boston. Enjoy the cuisine. Enjoy. It's a party atmosphere. Be careful. It's a city. It's a big city, but it's a wonderful city, and it's open to you. And welcome to Boston. It's a beautiful city.
And the city's website is your friend. There's a lot of helpful information to help new residents get acclimated, as well as our 311 service is there to connect you with whatever you may need.
Could you just go over again if there is a problem in a unit and the landlord has to move folks out? What should the residents know about their rights? I mean, you kind of mentioned there's a hotel involved. Or what would be residents' rights? Just kind of reiterate it for the new people.
Residents have rights to a clean environment, a clean and sanitary environment, and safe also. And once again, legal. There's been cases where there's illegal basement apartments, illegal rooms in the basement or in the attic, and can lead to unsafe situations and won't be tolerated, and they'll be emptied right away.
What makes an illegal room?
There's a lot of different parameters. Once again, it has to succumb to zoning and building code. And so once again, that's a wide open question. You'd have to have the specific, site-specific. And you have to be registered basically with ISD, the living space, for that particular living space.
As things stand today, what grade would you give landlords in the city as kids start to move in over the next few days?
I give them pretty high grade.
I think it's a little bit early to grade.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be watching very closely over the next few days, and then you can come back to us to see how things went. But we're hoping that things have been improving in the past, and we're hoping to see the same thing again this year.
So it's not an A and it's not a F?
No, and right now it would be ungraded at this point.
And the universities and the colleges put out a great message also to the off-site owners for their students.
We always come here to Alston. Can you kind of describe this area as to why you kind of focus in on this area in terms of the density, the amount of rentals? Like, why is this kind of a hotbed of activity?
Probably the highest density of students in the city of Boston. Plus, it's Alston parties. And, we just want to, tell the students, be careful and watch what you do. And just once again, use your head.
Yeah, and I'll add that although we may have this media veil in Austin, we're all across the city. We're seeing a lot of student populations in South Boston. Certainly they're in Mission Hill. the Fenway Symphony area. So we're going to have staff and resources from all city departments throughout the city in neighborhoods that are student heavy. Anything else? Well, thank you all for coming out today.
Thanks.
Thank you.